Welcome back to Spreading the Good Stuff. I'm your host today, Katrina Myers, and for the month of October, we're proud to be hosting this special four-part series. It's a four-part series of episodes for the 2020 Small Business Month, the New South Wales Small Business Month, and it's in partnership with the New South Wales Government and the Murray River Council. And we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay our respects to their elders past, present and future. We'd like to extend that respect to Aboriginal peoples present today. So I'm joined today with Kate Redfern from 12 Good Eggs. And it's lovely to have you here, Kate. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I was really honoured, really stoked when you invited me last week. So, yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, no, it's so
Although I am nervous, but I am also excited.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. Everyone gets nervous. Nerves are good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's lovely. And it's lovely to be doing this series, I think, and to be able to interview some of our fantastic local businesses and hear from them and how their business operates and how they've been able to cope and manage through this whole crazy last 12 months. So really looking forward to digging into the questions with you. So I thought we'd just start with, if you could just give us a little bit of a background about your business, how you came to be at 12 Good Eggs and what you do.
Sure. So we purchased the business 6 years ago. It was a business owned locally here in Barham. We purchased it because Mum and Dad were sort of looking to step back from mainstream farming. My brother was coming home. It was sort of a semi-retirement project. So I was always going to be working with them. But sort of once we purchased it, we decided it's actually more of a full-time career, not really a cruisy little semi-retirement project. So I'm really grateful that we have done it because it's given me a lot of opportunities. But yeah, that's where we started around 6 years ago.
Okay. And so you bought the business from someone else?
Yes. So a family here in Barham owned the business, so Glenn and Marty Gray, and they had it for 3 years. And then, yeah, they were looking to move on. So we'd actually been to see them previously just to, perhaps talk about building our own egg farm to supply them. And then they came to us and said, actually, we're going to sell. So that's how we came about purchasing.
Ah, fantastic. So 12 Good Eggs, it's obviously chooks that produce eggs. And how many chooks have you got?
We currently have 3,000.
Yep.
We do have the capacity to have up to 5,000. However, we sort of had to cut back on our numbers a bit once the borders closed. We were sort of building our way back up to the 5,000, and now we've cut back down to 3,000. So currently we have 3,000 chooks.
Okay.
They're in a free range environment, fully free range. Our stocking density is actually 150 hens per hectare, so they have plenty of room to move around.
Okay, and tell us about, I know, I've seen them, the cool caravans that they live in.
Yes.
And they're all like artistically sort of, decorated and stuff.
Yeah, they've been painted. Yes, they have been painted. And I've got some new ones actually that it's a project down the track that, we'll be looking to decorate.
Oh, cool. Will you get school kids or get some
That's the thought. That is the thought. But obviously, with COVID at the moment, they can't come out. But the thought is to do some sort of competition or some sort of community involvement anyway. Yeah.
Oh, love that. Absolutely love it. That'll be so cool.
I'll let you know if you can enter.
Excellent. Yep, absolutely. We can promote it on here if it's a competition or something. We'd be more than happy to do that. Love that. And so sort of prior to COVID or, when you first set up and everything, how were you selling the eggs? What was your main distribution?
Yeah, so our main distribution is through IGAs, smaller independent type supermarkets, food works, sort of gourmet food shops, health food shops, things like that. We also attended farmers markets, but obviously we're here on the border of New South and Vic, all the farmers markets we attended were in Victoria. So that was probably the main thing that shut down for me when the borders closed.
Right. So how many farmers markets were you doing?
I was doing Bendigo every week, which was a huge one for us. And I was doing Echuca, which is fortnightly, another really big market for us, and also Kahuna. So not many, but they were weekly, Bendigo was weekly, and it was a really, really, really good market.
Yeah, right. And so borders shut and so they just said you can't go?
Well, basically, if I went to Bendigo, I then had to, when I came back to New South Wales, I could go. I definitely could go. But when I came back, I'd have to self-isolate for 14 days. And it meant that my son couldn't go to daycare. I couldn't go into the office, different things like that. So it just wasn't going to be worth it to go to Bendigo once, come back, isolate for 14 days, and then just have to do that every week. So yes, I
And
wasn't
so that must have been like, I remember seeing one of your posts. I think obviously you probably had like a lot of stock ready to go. Like, because it happened sort of pretty much overnight, that border closure, didn't it? Like,
absolutely.
it was very quick.
I was at Bendigo on Thursday. I think the border closed. They basically put the police on the border that weekend, and I wasn't able to go to the following market. So, and yes, we had built our stocks up because I was selling so much at that Bendigo market. So suddenly I just had eggs. And
so what did you do?
Well, that's when we just had to think about what we could do. And, you know, we didn't know when the borders are going to open. I don't know when I can go back to Bendigo. So it wasn't, you know, I don't want to throw eggs out. So to start with, I donated a lot of eggs to Bendigo Food Share, which I love doing. I love to think that people out there, you know, eating fresh, healthy eggs, kids out there who have nothing. But obviously that's, you know, for business, I do need to make money. So got talking with Lauren Mathers, who here, another local operator, Bundara Berkshires, and she actually has a truck that goes down to Melbourne and one that goes to Sydney and delivers door to door. And I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, gosh, that is the greatest opportunity for us. You know, she's already set up the infrastructure, what have you. So I basically just got online. I built my online website fairly well overnight. Started pretty basic. It was a learning curve, and yeah, I've just been adding to it ever since. And I now, it's building really well. It started off just family and friends sort of buying a couple of dozen eggs and supporting me and spreading the word. And now I can deliver to doorsteps of Melbourne, Sydney, Bendigo, and sort of anywhere in between. So people jump online, order, I take them to Lauren, they go on the truck down to Melbourne and then, or to Sydney or to wherever they're going. And then they've employed a driver who just drives it around the city and door knocks and delivers. So that's how we changed. Started off slow, you know, I think I got 15 orders the first week, and yeah, it's just built ever since. And I've had the most amazing response, absolutely amazing. That people really I'm finding that people really do want to support. They want to know where their food's coming from more than ever. And everyone's at home, everyone was baking, everyone's kids were at home in Victoria. So they were just, yeah, really appreciating the eggs to the door.
Oh, I love that so much, Kate. And actually, it's like it's pretty much exactly how we deliver our avocados as well. Yeah, the Avocado Club. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you were able to. I mean, really, that's a massive pivot, like very quickly. And isn't it so interesting that like that forced, you know, it's something that was forced, and at the time would have been just like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? But it's actually led to this whole new market for you because you're able to think.
And I mean, even when and if I'm allowed to go to Victoria again, I mean, yeah, I'm loving doing it. I'm absolutely loving doing it. It's every day I get on and I have all these comments from people saying thank you and we really appreciate it. And the taste of the eggs, you know, we don't want to buy them from the supermarket. And yeah, it's lovely.
So good. So a couple of questions. How did you, like sort of nuts and bolts, how did you set up your website? Like what platform did you use?
I already have a 12 Good Eggs website, and I've done a course on building websites, so I do understand how to do that. And of course I do have a marketing background, but I just did a bit of research and I went just with the basic Shopify, which is really easy to use. It's very user friendly. And yeah, I just found it really easy to do. So Shopify. And I've now just linked it to my 12 Good Eggs website.
Right.
You need to set up the PayPal, you know, those sort of things. But yeah, there's a few technical parts, but yeah, there is so much information available to you. So at night time after Henry went to bed, I was just sort of online, just researching, yeah, just working out how to do it myself. Yeah,
it's pretty phenomenal. You can Google anything these days, really, can't you? Like it's all there. You can figure anything out, but actually doing it is still quite challenging sometimes. But
and the time to do it when you've got kids, as you know. So
absolutely, and you're working you actually work. Is it full time or part time that you work as well?
Well, with all my jobs combined, I work full time, really. You know, I've got the farm side of it, and then I work obviously with Western Murray Land Improvement Group. So I do the accounts, a bit of marketing, just a project work for them. So yeah, with everything combined, it's pretty well full time. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you were having to do this, as you said, at night. Henry's gone to bed. He's trying to scramble and figure out, well, okay, how do I get a website set up so I can sell the eggs online? I'm going to set up the logistics. Like that's quite a lot to actually sort out, I must say. But so cool that you've been able to do it. And so
you know, obviously there's a few of us doing it like yourself and the orange juice, and there's a few different people doing it now, and everyone's really supportive, and you know, we're all in it together. So asking questions and just talking to each other has been really helpful as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that. And I think it's actually, you know, it's kind of one of the silver linings to come out of this whole pandemic, is that people are, you know, much more open to sort of trying new things, but then also consumers are like heaps more open to buying products online that they may never have thought of doing previously. Like, you know, I mean, eggs is one thing that you sort of think, oh, eggs online, but you know, like,
tell me about it. Tell me
it can
about
happen. And I think, you know, we started doing the avocados 10 years ago, like when we first started. And back then, like no one was doing any food online. But now it's, you know, it's becoming a lot more common. And this has really kind of, you know, escalated or catapulted it forward even more, I think. So it's fantastic.
Well, a few years ago, I just thought, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. And I mean, it wouldn't be possible without your networks, you know, made as transport, and obviously, you know, unless you're going to purchase your own truck. So their help is, that's how I've been able to do it. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, though, I think. It's being able to use those networks, and it's tapping into what's already existing. Like, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Figure out what's already there and how you can tap into, especially coming from a rural area like this. Like, you know, if they're sending it down already, whack it together. And it's also...
helps them as well. Helps pay their drivers. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so how are you then marketing it? So that's how you've done sort of your website and the logistics side of it. You're tapping into those local networks. How are you marketing it so people will hear about it?
Okay, so I started with a lot of customers that I already had through going to markets. And obviously I had direct contact with them, which I had quite a big database. So I basically started with them and just let them know that's what I was doing. And I use social media. I've done a few boosted posts and things down in Melbourne, Sydney area, but it's sort of been a lot of word of mouth, and I've given a few incentives to my friends where I send them and say, please, can you give these to neighbours, friends, whatever, let them know that they can buy it online. And it's just sort of been building that way. But I do, predominantly social media for the marketing side of it. Yeah.
Social media is phenomenal, really, isn't it? Like, it is the best way to, it
is.
And also, I suppose that, because I know, like, linking in with tapping into Lauren's markets and stuff as well, as that help? Like, does she put, you know, tell her audience?
That's the other thing is Lauren has, you know, created the local produce boxes, which she includes our eggs in that. So, yes. So, sort of everyone getting together and helping to co-promote basically the region, I think.
Love that.
Yes.
So good. And so do you think you'll go back to, like you sort of touched on it briefly, but do you think you'll go back to doing it? Because farmers markets are actually quite, you know, I mean, we did it for a few years, but it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot, and they're early mornings, and I was quite relieved to skip winter. The frosty mornings, I'm not missing that at all. But look, it is face to face with your customers. You know, there is a lot of benefits to them, and I do enjoy the social side of it. But yes, it is a lot of work. So whether they go back to what I was doing or not, I'm not sure. So
if you can keep growing this, like it's obviously growing still, and it's it's doing so well. So maybe this is easier for you for sure.
Yeah. Do it all from my office. So.
Yes, absolutely. So what else, I guess, what have you learnt in that, you know, having this kind of forced adaption, like during this it's nearly 12 months, isn't it? It's crazy. Like, what would you say have been your main learnings?
I think the disadvantage to it is it's constant. People are constantly contacting you.
Yes.
So I do find that I'm on my phone a lot more. I'm answering messages a lot more. So they're the sort of things I need to look at ways of, I don't know how I manage that. But what I have learned is I need to employ people to do more of the day-to-day work, such as packing the eggs. We were employing, but we've actually employed more so that I do have the time to go out and promote it. So I'm not in the shed. Well, I am still at times, but I'm not always there packing. It's just pay someone to do that so that I can clear my mind, so that I can focus on, what I'm doing here. And it gives someone else here in the region a job. So that's probably one of my main learnings.
I love that. Okay, so how many staff did you have before all of these new changes?
We've always had, in the shed, you need 4 people in the shed. So Mum and I have always worked there for a long time anyway. And we had 2 girls helping us. So now I have 4 people in the shed. so that I don't have to. I'm just sort of there. I'm usually overseeing the internet orders and things like that for the moment. And then we have someone helping us collect the eggs as well. So what's that for? 5. We have 5 people. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's quite a lot of stuff because you're kind of running like two. You've got the on farm where the chooks are in the caravans, and you've got sort of that part of it. And then you've also got the production packing. So you do all the packing. You manage all of that yourself, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. So we rent a shed here in Barham that has our grading machine and packing facilities. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's quite a big operation. 4 or 5 staff now.
Yeah. It is.
But I think that's a really good point that you made about being able to employ the right people and not try to do everything yourself. But it's a fine line, isn't it, in business too? You've got to get to that point where you're kind of big enough in some ways to justify. But sometimes you've almost got to employ those people before you're ready sometimes, don't you? Because how you keep growing. Yeah.
And look, I suppose we've always done it ourselves. We think, save money, do it yourselves. But do you really? Because you're taking away the time that I could be using my marketing background, even my accounting, the accounting for the business. That the bills come last because you're always in the collecting eggs, you're packing, and you need to be on top of your accounts and things like that. So yeah, I think employing people to do that day-to-day stuff, and then I can then focus on other areas has just been the best thing that's happened.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more actually. Like we've found the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting the right people is really important too, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to make sure you get the right staff. So your mum's still working in the business as well?
Yeah, no, she's still fully involved. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fairly fair. And Roger, your partner as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Roger's
involved too.
He's certainly one of the sounding boards and go to for advice. He's got a food science background, so he's very helpful in that type, which we're audited quite strictly, salmonella and various things, so he's really handy in that side of thing. And Roger, he's got 1,000 ideas a day, so
yes, I do know Roger, and I do know he has 1,000 ideas a day. I can also relate to that. But we love that. Well, he'd be a great attribute to the business, really.
Yeah, we were really lucky actually with the skills between us. Been good.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? It's actually, another thing that's actually really important in the business too is to have those diverse range of skills. And I think also when you're employing other people, it's to try and match people up that complement your weaknesses. So like look at what your strengths are and then think about how, and it's nice that you and Roger have got that, and then your mum brings something else, and it's lovely to have that team.
And we all work well together. Everyone has their moments, but we work really well together. So
that's awesome.
To enjoy it.
So what are the plans from here then? Like what's the future look like for 12 Good Eggs, and where do you want it to go?
Yeah, look, my biggest problem, spring is when you have a boom in eggs. But everyone in the region who buys my second year layers, they have a boom as well. So there's eggs everywhere, and then that's when it's our toughest time of year. September, October is our toughest 2 months of the year for that reason. There's eggs everywhere. Your neighbour gives you eggs. Everyone gives you eggs. So they're not as many are being sold. So I'm looking at some value add. I'm going through a business development program at the moment through Western Murray, actually, some funding they got there. And we have been talking with a consultant, and I've been part of a group which is focusing on the region itself, and, maybe branding the region, doing different things, but also value add for my own business. So I've got a few ideas. I've got a couple which they're not fully developed at all at this stage, but my idea is to deal with the waste product. We're looking at a calcium product potentially for the soil, putting the eggshells back into the soil type thing. And another one I'm looking at is a supplement for dogs. So, I know, out there, because I looked at pasta, I looked at baking, and as much as I love food and I love cooking and what have you, there's a lot of that out there at the moment. And I just don't have I'm not to say that I won't do that down the track, but these are the two things that we're sort of looking at the moment. So watch this space.
Oh, I love that. So you could do, the other thing you do is you talking about like you do pre-made things with eggs in them or something. That's another value add, is it, that's more common?
Yeah. So a lot of people have branched out into pasta,
right.
Which I love. I love homemade pasta, but so I've sort of looked at the things I'm, getting more into the agriculture side, where perhaps there's some sort of a supplement for the soil. But as I said, it's very early stages. So,
but I love that though. I love just like
yeah,
the formulation of those ideas, even, and thinking like that. I mean, that's what like I'm so passionate about. I think it's so lovely to cultivate. Is that just like thinking differently and thinking about what's possible, and really like that's that real innovation, which is just
and it's
awesome.
got me so excited. I have to pry myself off the computer at the moment, because the more I find out, I'm really enjoying it. And just this consultant that we're using, that they've employed to do this program, it just keeps you inspired, motivated, and what will come of it, I don't know, but that's the path I'm looking at the moment.
I love that. Is that Rose?
Yeah.
Rose.
Rose from
right.
Regionality. Yes.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's great, that project. So am I right? The Western Murray Land Improvement Group sort of got together to develop this program. It's called an Agri Innovation Program.
Agri Innovation, right? Yeah, that's right. So we received funding for that through the Murray-Darling Basin Economic Development Program, probably about 12 months ago. And we are running a range of business development programs. I think we've got a group of 8 who are doing the initial pilot program. And we're hoping sort of once we get to the end of it, then we'll be able to promote it and bring others on board to do the next round. And part of that is potentially looking at some region branding. So just looking at branding our region, perhaps looking at a trading platform, that type of thing, for all the regional producers to come on board and be able to get their food into Melbourne. So
awesome. I love that. I know that's something.
It's a really great project.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of positives and just a really great group of people doing it. And it's been fun.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know Roger's been really passionate about the regional brand for a long time. And you can see how, especially as you were saying earlier, we've got orange juice, avocados, pork, eggs.
Yep. And there's people out there who want to do things, but they're not sure how to, or, so this program's brilliant for them as well. There is a lot of people out there, looking to value add and what they can do with their farms and what have you.
Yes, and if you can show them what's possible and say, well, here's the options for you, like it makes it easier for people, doesn't it? They can say, oh, well, I can see how that can happen. And it's, like a bit like what you've done with setting up all this logistics and having to go and, build those networks and stuff. If you can make sort of a process around that and say, well, here you go, this is all you need to do, like so much more appealing to someone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I can understand, I brought an established business, but you're starting from scratch. It's quite daunting. And where do you start? Who do you go to for advice, and where do you start? And
yes, absolutely. But see, that's actually what I love about what you've done, and one of your great skills, obviously, and obviously shining through and how you're able to pivot so quickly during this, really difficult time and adjust. Like, it's a real credit to you to be able to do that, and it's very inspirational, Kate. It's awesome.
The chooks do not stop laying, so something had to be done, or otherwise it was going to be a huge waste. And
absolutely,
I don't like that. My parents certainly don't.
No, it was one of the sad things, wasn't it, to come out of it? There's many sad things, but one of the hard parts about the border closure was this stuff that you couldn't get your produce out. Like, that was that's hard, isn't it? And there would have been lots of people in that situation that go across the border that couldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's amazing what you've been able to do. I love it. And so, will you be looking to get more chooks as well, or are you happy with the sort of the size that you're at now? Like, given that spring issue, are the numbers sort of good at the moment, or would you like it to grow? Or does it depend on demand?
Yeah, look, it depends. That's another part of the business development program. We're looking at margins, financials. Is it best to grow your business or to concentrate on, sort of what you've already got? So my gut feel at the moment is, we don't want to get to, a huge size where we're employing a whole team of staff. We like to be involved ourselves, but perhaps if we could just utilise all the waste product, sell what we have. As I said, we've got the capacity at the moment to grow to 5,000, and that's probably what I'd like to get to. And whether I go beyond that or not, I don't know. So that's I don't know at this stage.
Okay. Yeah, I love that what you said there, because something that we often talk about, and so like that I talk to people about in business and in terms of your vision and where you want to get to, and even in the wellbeing work and stuff that I do, is thinking about not kind of just the monetary goals and the financial goals, but also balancing that with your lifestyle and how you want to manage it. And like, I like what you said, that you want to stay involved with the business. And so it sounds like that is a factor for you in your decision making, which is cool. Yeah. It's not just about the money. It's about obviously that's important to you, that family.
Yeah.
And the why of the business. Yeah.
That's what I want to be involved in farming. And this is the way I can be. The mainstream farming these days has gone beyond me. So it's just a way I get to combine both probably my passions, which is our area, the farm, and also my marketing. I get to be creative. It's my own business. I get to be creative and utilise, that's how I see it. I love it. I can't ever imagine going back to work 9 to 5 for someone else. I love to be able to have my land and also use my creative side as well.
Oh, I love that, Kate. It's so good. I think, often we think about these, you're going to come up with these new entrepreneurial ideas and innovations, and everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but like farmers, you're classic entrepreneur, really. Like you've always owned, you own your business, and you can be as creative as you like, really. And so much room for innovation, and it sounds like you're just nailing it. I love it. And I love what you've been able to do over the last 12 months. Who knows where to from here?
Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Like, the next 6 months could be anything. I think it's so great that you've been able to, implement all these changes so that you can ensure the future of your business. It's awesome what you've been able to do. Is there any other like sort of tools or things that you'd like to mention that you think would be helpful for anyone who's sort of thinking, or or where they could go, or what helped you in the initial stages? If someone else is thinking, geez, I'd love to be able to do a pivot like this, or how do I set up my online business, or have you got any sort of last bits of advice for people if they wanted to try something new in their business?
Yeah, look, I think you've just got to talk to other people. As I said, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the transport, and that was just having a conversation with Lauren about that. If anything, any opportunity that comes your way, any of these events that are being held locally, if you learn one thing, it's worthwhile going. If you meet one contact, it's worthwhile going. So you've just got to open up, I suppose, your mind and head along and just talk to people. That's what I think.
I love
making
that.
Contacts, networking, helping each other, because we are all in it together. Some are faring better than others, but yeah, we are actually all in this together. We're all from this community. We love our community. We're proud of our community. So the more we can do to help each other and make it success and viable for our kids to live here too, well, yeah, that's what I believe. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Kate. I couldn't agree more. I'm so with you on that. I love that. I think it is so important to talk to people, and that is. Yeah, if you don't have the answers yourself, or if you don't know what to do, then just ask. There's so many people.
There's a lot of help out there. There is a lot of help out there, and I think there's going to be more, to be honest. As COVID goes along or whatever happens, there is going to be a lot more out there. So,
yeah, absolutely. And, particularly if you are in the sort of, in the Murray Shire area, the Western Murray Land Improvement Group it's just good to give them another mention. Like the work that they are doing is
absolutely
amazing, isn't it?
And if you have an idea and you'd like to see, come and talk to us. We, that's what we do. We try and find funding. We try and help you out there. So yeah, anyone's welcome to come into our office at any time and have a chat.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's, really, I love the work that group's doing, and it's amazing, and it's been so good for the region. So definitely a good place to go if you're looking for help and advice, as you say.
Yeah.
And so you're happy to help, if an individual business came to you and said, look, I need some support with this idea that I'm thinking.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I can, if anyone wants to have a chat, more than happy to.
Oh, that's awesome. Love that. Well, it's been so lovely chatting to you today, Kate. I think that's a lovely place to wrap up. And thank you so much for sharing your experiences.
I don't feel nervous now.
Oh, that's good. Sammy, it wasn't just a chat. That's what it's all about on this podcast. It's just a chat. And I think that so many people will relate, and love to hear your story. Like, it's very inspirational, and it's so lovely to hear what you've been able to do. And I just love it. I think there's so much potential and opportunity out there, and you're a really good example of that. And so thank you for sharing your story with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And a big thank you to the Murray River Council for sponsoring these episodes and for, partnering with us in this series of episodes. It's been really lovely to, as I said, talk to these businesses and to hear other people's stories and to hear how people are growing their businesses in this, especially in this crazy environment that we're in this pandemic. So Please feel free to get in touch with us on our socials and follow our socials. Please subscribe to the podcast as always. You can leave any comments and give us your ideas. And also there's a platform on the council's website, which is the Your Say platform. So if you just go to yoursay.murrayriver.newsouthwales.gov.au and you can give us some feedback on the episodes or ask any questions on there. And thank you so much for joining us today, Kate. It's been absolutely lovely. And until the next episode, thanks for listening, everyone. See you, Kate.
Bye, thank you.